Okay, 4 times a charm. So long it's taken me to try to get out something that makes sense in a video. This is Tom, and this is Are You on the Spectrum? Sort of an update. I haven't done anything in a couple weeks at least, I think. It's been that long. Might have been longer. Um, this is sort of a what progress I've been making towards my question of asking if I'm on the spectrum or not. And I have an evaluation here in 11 days. That's one of the things I want to talk about. Also, the process of what I've been going through as far as the acceptance and denial of the possibility I'm on the spectrum. And some of the experiences I've been having that are pushing me closer and closer to really almost an absolute belief that I am. I say absolute because I'm just still, I want to talk about the diagnosis a little bit, or the period I'm going to have of being diagnosed. It's 3 parts. First is sort of a exploratory 1 to 2 hours of, okay, why are you here? Tell us about, probably they do a basic, or they might do maybe sort of an in-depth history, a mark of current issues. So that's going to be an interesting day. And then your second day is going to be about 6 hours of testing, where they're going to take their best guess, I think, of what you've given them as far as information, and test you to see, in fact, if you do show those. I'm speaking so slow. When you do, if you do test positive for the areas that they're testing you on. Oh boy, I have this period of self-examination. I suppose there are people out here who would. There's all kinds of people, but there'd be people who would want to somehow justify that they are on the spectrum. I don't think I'm one of those. I really don't. Looking at how this whole thing, I mean, if I had really wanted to be, diagnosed with having Asperger's syndrome or being on the spectrum, I would have pursued this before. I mean, this has been close to 4 years that I had talked with that one woman about, or she talked about her son with Asperger's, and the more she talked about it, the more I go, wow, there's something about this is hard. This is easy to explain to somebody who's on the spectrum, but hard to explain to someone who's not. There is this mindset that you have trying to live in the neurotypical world. There is a series of things that you do to fit into that. And it entails suppressing emotions and physical. I mean, if you're somewhat sensitive to light or smells or something, and you tolerate it. I mean, this is what people who even have severe sensory overload learn to do. I mean, you still have to fit in to the world. Just saying that you're autistic doesn't mean you can go off in your bubble somewhere and just be completely isolated. And I mean, some people you can. That's another whole issue that would be interesting to talk about. But that's not what I want. I want to. Well, that would be another whole video too. What I want out of this is to improve my quality of life. I want to, but also I want to know who I am. That's probably the the I guess maybe they're one and the same. My quality of life will improve when I discover my abilities and disabilities, I guess. Ooh, there's that word. I used it, so it's okay. So anyway, the diagnosis is coming up, and that'll be an interesting period. There's 3 sessions: exploratory, the testing, and then a wrap up result. A consultation of what the findings were. That day is going to be the one. I mean, actually, I may have a good feeling after that second day, but that's going to be a stressful day, that third one, because I honestly, I can see breaking down either way, whatever the answer is. Um, it'll be a relief if I find I am, because there has been so many, there's too many coincidences that I share with people who are on the spectrum. I know it sounds strange, and but it's deeper than just agreeing with another person. It's it's when you are there talking with someone, it's like a moment of self-discovery. Yeah, you do that too. Well, me too. I mean, it's like you share this with another person, and you're finding parts of yourself, and you're also learning about how autism manifests itself differently in other people, and there's a bond that's there. That is what's just so incredible. It is like, man, it's like being lost at sea all your life, and you come up on another raft of somebody who was also lost. It's like, hey, oh my God, a person, and I mean, that's I guess that's not a very good picture, because all these other rafts with people in them, they're neurotypical. Maybe those are the cruise ships that go by and kind of ignore you, and you're like, hey, hey, and they're going on through. And here you are, you finally get this raft of someone else to float with, so you tie up with them, uh, and you compare notes and how you have survived. That's actually not a bad analogy, because that's how it feels. That's how it feels, I don't think you can fake that, and I think people would be able to determine, if in fairly short order, if you sincerely lived that life or you didn't. If you just got out of the cruise ship and hopped on a raft in order to go, hey, I'm one of you, I think that's the stories would wear thin pretty quick. Hey, we're 8 minutes in here. But anyway, there's just so many things I have found out about myself, and you just sort of shake your head. This is that whole tying up with the other fellow, castaway here, and comparing notes. It's like, wow, you do that. And what's interesting, what reason it's helping me is because as I connect all these dots, I mean, it literally is like a dot matrix picture. You see these, you put enough dots down, and pretty soon you can start seeing a form, and pretty soon you can start seeing contrast. Then you can start seeing lines. Then you can start seeing an image. And this is kind of what that process is like of discovering yourself. You go, yeah, I do that. Um, Pretty soon, yeah, I do that too, and yeah, I do that, and yeah, I do that, and you can start talking about it, and it's a great feeling. But at this stage, when you are looking for that professional nod that says, "Yep, you are," uh, I think that's it'll be interesting to know how I react to that. I'm still my physiology is still on high adrenaline level. I can tell from my heart rate. I can tell from there aren't arrhythmias, but they're misbeats, and I also have atrial fibrillations. And I can't tell which is which, so I can't say which is what it is. But at night, a lot of times it's really darn hard to sleep because your heart's going instead of just a calm bum, 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 bum. I mean, it's just like it's hard to sleep with that. And these are all the little things that add up to being okay. There's something really going on here. To throw you psychologically into such a state of self-examination, and it's a healing process. It is so many things. It's self-discovery. It is a grieving in a lot of ways. I think that's maybe that's even a major part of it. But in all honesty, you can't grieve unless you know what you're grieving. And when you're that hidden from yourself, covered by so many layers of compensations, and you're sort of numb. You're sort of it's off into these analogies, but anyway, that's my progress. I don't know if I'll make another video before that diagnosis is done, but I will definitely make some videos about what the process was. Hopefully that will help some people. But if you're also looking for answers and wondering if you're on the spectrum, I can relate. I sure can. If you're not, and you're wondering what us crazy neurodiverse people are worried about, or maybe this will help explain a little more. That's what I'm hoping. That's why I'm making them. So anyway, this is Tom. That's somebody talking to me. Good time to end. Talk to you all later. This is Are You on the Spectrum? And we'll talk to you later. I think I just said that.